Afternoon.
Checking your team leads first of all then, any new absences, anyone back?
No, I think it's pretty much as is. So Man's trained the last couple of days, but probably a bit too early to be back in the squad. Needs to build himself back up again. But yeah, everyone else seems to be good.
Great news yesterday with the England call-ups for Taylor and Aaron Ramsdale. Taylor, first of all, is obviously very well known to Lee Carsley, but how have you seen him develop since you first started working with him?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant news for the club that we have and Tyler Diblin in the under-21s as well. His first call up to the under-21s, which is great. So with regards to Taylor, he's been, obviously Lee knows him very well. He's been his captain for a while, so he knows what he can bring. But I think for us, he's been really huge. So last season on the pitch, this season we had a difficult start, and I think a lot of our players took a bit of time to really feel like they belong here and can compete here and really like be the player they want to be here. And in the last couple of weeks, we've seen Taylor grow a lot as a character and leader on the pitch and take big responsibility, which he always has done for us with the ball, and also like his mentality to defend, to head the ball, to be aggressive, to attack it now at set pieces as well. He's becoming a real threat. So yeah, he has to keep improving. He has a lot of work to do, but he's also an extremely talented young man with an amazing mindset and mentality, and it's obviously why we were so keen to get him last season and then to keep him, and fortunately we got promoted, so we were able to keep him, and now he's grown again and he has to continue to do that, so it'll be brilliant for him. I know he's trained in and around the squad before anyway when the 21s have been used to train with the first team, so I don't think he'll have any worries about that, and knowing Taylor, he'll just be desperate to get on the pitch and try and force his way into it. So I'm really delighted for him, as I am with Rambo, to get back into the squad. He's been amazing for us since he come in, but the last couple of games he's really been big, really, really big. And he got the clean sheet he deserved. So yeah, good.
Just on Aaron, I mean, he's had to fight back from lots of sort of setbacks or just adversity throughout his career, a couple of relegations, he gets his big move to Arsenal, loses his place, comes here, loses the place in the England squad, back in it again. Mm-hmm. Just shows his character, doesn't it, to be able to keep on doing that?
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's like football's never linear, is it? It's never easy, it's never straightforward. So some people have the luxury of being brilliant players and top players and staying there for a long time. Aaron is a top player that's had to work, the hard way to get there. And then has had a bit of frustration recently and now finds himself in a place where he's really loved and really appreciated and is a big, big part of it. And I think that suits him and it helps him and it helps us. And I think it's going to be really interesting because the way he can do both sides of the game, take the ball, the passes he can find, the courage to take the ball and be able to start the build-up for us is huge. And then obviously the moments where he has massive saves at the weekend before at Man City. So he has every asset to his game, every facet to his game, and every asset that he needs to be a really top goalkeeper. But his biggest one is his mentality. So the fact he has bounced back from a lot of adversity doesn't surprise me one bit. And it was also a big reason why we wanted him here, because we knew it wasn't going to be easy, and there'll be times when we are having a difficult period, and we know that he has the mental fortitude and the character to keep going.
On to last week. Be calm and trust the process is something that Carl Walker-Peters put on social media afterwards. You've spoken a lot about the camaraderie and the fight that the team has, but do you feel like it's been a bit more of like is there another bounce and a bit more energy in the squad after that week?
I think naturally like it relaxes people a little bit, but they've worked extremely hard, so the intensive training hasn't changed. They've always been there. They've been together. They've really trusted in us and each other and what we're doing and bought into it and believed in it. Otherwise we just wouldn't have got through that period. And they have a lot of trust in what they're doing, a lot of belief in what they're doing. It's taken a huge amount of courage to keep doing what they're doing when results have been difficult. But they have, and I think, Carl's one of the calmest players we have under big pressure. And I think he appreciates the role he has and the work that gets put into it. And now we have to use it as a real springboard to kick on. So we have to make sure we back that up with another good performance and result tomorrow.
So on to Wolves, they're only one of two clubs that haven't won in the Premier League this season. I guess the win last week maybe, has it raised expectations among fans at least a little bit?
I don't know. I think every game is the same in the Premier League. It's so big. We try and win every game. We'll try and win this game. There's no easy games in the Premier League. So I don't know what the expectation is. I know what our expectation is and what's really important to us and our performance. And I think we've made that really clear to the players. So I think they understand that and they know that and they know why. We've worked on what we've worked on this week. So yeah, we will go there with the aim of being us and turning the performance into one and the game into one that we want it to be, which is always going to be the challenge. It's not going to be easy, but it's a brilliant challenge.
Just last one from me. You played with Gary O'Neill at Norwich. Do you still keep in touch with him?
We've stayed in touch beyond. So when he was at Liverpool and Bournemouth and I was at MK in Swansea, not so much since I've been here and he's been a Premier League manager because things get very, very busy. But I look forward to catching up with Gaz. I had a lot of time for him as a teammate and as a person. So I think he's done a great job and I think it's brilliant he had an opportunity at Bournemouth and took it, a young English coach, done a brilliant job and now he's got a brilliant opportunity at Wolves and he did great last season. I've got no doubt at some point they will hit their stride this season because they've been really unfortunate and they've had a really tough run of fixtures as well. So we understand the challenge. I look forward to catching up with Gaz after, but we will compete against each other for 90 minutes. All the friendship stuff goes out the window for then. But yeah, I think it's great. He's done so well, and we were probably two of the moaniest players you'd ever come across in training with an opinion on the game. So it doesn't surprise me that we've both gone into this side of it. And yeah, I really wish him nothing but the best after tomorrow.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
And Russell, just following on from that, was it ever conversations you had amongst each other as senior pros at Norwich that you thought this would be the line?
No, we just spent most of the time arguing on the pitch. So I wanted him to go away and get the ball higher up, and he wanted to take the ball off my feet. And no, we got on really well. And yeah, we used to have a lot of conversations around football. And Stephen Naismith the same, and he ended up managing Hearts and done a really good job last season. Currently out of a job, unfortunately. But I think as you get older and you form more of an opinion, you see more things on the game. Yeah, you do formulate some opinion and then you discuss it, of course, with your peers and the people around you that have similar interests. And our interest at that time, we were all obsessed with football and discussing it and disagreeing. That was the fun bit, disagreeing and arguing in the gym, on the training pitch and afterwards. And yeah, so we've all got a different idea of the game, but I think we all have clarity in what we want. And part of that comes from those conversations when you're at the training ground and you're playing and you're travelling in hotels and stuff like that. And yeah, just a feel for Stephen Whittaker used to sit there and roll his eyes at all of us, really.
Gary likes to have Wolves playing positive. As a result of that, they've conceded a shed load of goals this season. You would obviously like to have scored more. Do you pin this up as an opportunity to say, this is a team that can't stop conceding goals, we've got to get at them?
No, I think the challenge is always the same for us, always the same, to impose the game we want, to try and create the opportunities we want, and to be aware of the opposition threat and to be aware of how we can hurt them. And I'm sure Gary's preparing his team in the same way.
You mentioned at the start about having a natural bounce around the camp as well. You also talk about character a lot. How important is the character of your players in making sure you capitalise on this positive moment in the right way and not think, right, we've done the job, now we've got that win monkey off our back?
Yeah, I think it's just so obvious for the players. It's the Premier League. It's not easy, and we've won 2 games, one in the Cup, one in the League. We had a good performance at Man City, but we're still in a position we don't want to be in. So I think it's really simple. I don't think I need to make that any clearer to the players. I think we work on us and the process we have, which is to try and improve, and we have lots to improve on. We have lots to be happy about over the last week, but we also have lots to improve on. So we have to just keep striving for improvement and growth in the team and as people. So I love the feeling of training this week, but also it's not been drastically different even when results haven't gone our way. I think when people come here, they may be surprised by it sometimes. The guys are still there. They still enjoy what they do. They haven't enjoyed the outcome of the results, but yeah, I can't just focus on that and change our mood depending on the result. Life wouldn't be very fun, and it wouldn't be. I don't think there's much longevity in that, really.
Just a final one from me for our international audience. I wanted to ask you about Yuki Sugawara, who obviously cleared off the line against Stoke, probably kept you in the cup, made the goal, or the final pass for the goal last week as well. Obviously, he's been in Europe for a few years now. But how do you assess his opening couple of months in the Premier League?
I think he's been outstanding to adapt to a different culture, different environment, to not have his family here for the first couple of months as well, and the way that he just dealt with that and handled that. They're now over, so Yuki is... He's smiling. He smiles a lot anyway. But yeah, I think he's been fantastic. The only thing that sort of disrupted his season a little bit was he took a knock against Leicester, and after the international breaks, with the amount of travelling he does, and then goes away and doesn't play, makes it really difficult to come back with freshness and energy. So I think he's been amazing. He's going to be a brilliant player for us. A really, really outstanding player that is ready for the Premier League, and he's done great for us. And he was so unlucky not to play at the weekend, but came on at a big impact, and so now he needs to continue to do that.
Thanks, Russell.
Just on the young players getting in the England setups, can you just expand on how important that is for the club in the context of what you said about the way you need to do things as a club, because you're not spending hundreds of millions, but how important it is. And I've spoken to people at the club in the past about what good advert it is for Southampton if other people who might think about joining the club as players see what happens.
Yeah, I think young players need to see that there is a pathway. So we have some really outstanding young talent at the club, and Tyler's shown that. And yes, we've gone and got a couple from other clubs as well. But I think it was part of the reason that we were brought into the club in the first place was our record with young players and trying to develop talent and also create asset value for the football club in terms of business. But I think the more players you can have, young players, hungry players that are doing really, really well, it's good for the club and it's good for the academy and it's good for us as coaches to work with them because you have a chance to really influence them as professionals, as people. But also, like, we have to accept the responsibility of the older players with that. Jack Stevens, Adam Lallana, Alex McCarthy, the guys who show them how to act and behave every day. They're brilliant examples. So it's not just from the coaching staff. And but I think we're really willing to give opportunities to young players. If they are good enough, they're old enough. And I think we've shown that. I hope we have. And now the guys are getting their rewards for the hard work they put in and being really brave to try and be the people they want to be. So I'm really delighted for all of them. I really am. We have to just make sure they don't lose hunger and they maintain what's got them this far. And I think sometimes that's the biggest challenge in a young player's journey. But I think with these guys, I have no worries about that, with the people I have around them, and for us to keep being really demanding of them.
With regards Wolves, although it's not relevant to your team and you, some of the recent defeats there in the Premier League have almost been like chaotic games where Saints' game has broken down and Wolves have taken advantage of that. And then I've seen Wolves, just highlights, and seen similar things this season where they break well on teams. And
Wolves are amazing in transition, yeah. They have a lot of really good players, a lot of athleticism. So we have to try and avoid that as much as we possibly can.
Is that the challenge, though, to keep your game composed in the face of it?
Yeah, I think the more the game becomes transitional and open, the less it suits us and the more it suits Wolves. So I think that's really, that would be really key.
Just on the result of the game and the fact we've got an international break, it is psychologically relevant to some people, even if not you or the players, because every game's going to come anyway. But how important to not lose? I know you want to win, but how important to leave there, not bottom of the table, sitting on it for 2 weeks?
Honestly, like, it's so early on still. I don't know, like, the international breaks make the season feel so much longer or much further into the season than we are, because it has been a while and you just can't get any flow really with these international breaks. They're frustrating that they come in such quick succession. So, yeah, I really don't know. Every game is really important. I mean that. And whatever the outcome tomorrow, and I really believe if we go there and the lads stick to the work and the detail, and then with the intensity they played at last week and with the intensity they've trained with, then we'll come out of it in a really good place. And if we don't, we'll deal with it and we'll keep working. So, I'm in terms of that, a positive performance, a positive result. Everyone can go into this last break before the intensity of the schedule kicks on a little bit and notches up a little bit. Everyone can go into them feeling a bit better about themselves. I want to go into the break feeling in a good place and positive, and I'm sure everyone else does.
Okay, for 10:30, George.
I know you mentioned Tyler already, but I think it's quite difficult to forget sometimes. He's still an under-19 player, and for him to be in the under-21s for England is an incredible achievement, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. I'm really pleased for him. I think he deserves it.
And then I think with the other boys in the England squad as well, how some of the other boys in the squad reacted to them getting some sort of achievements.
They celebrated them this morning together as a group, which was really nice. So we had a moment for them. They probably got embarrassed a little bit, but the lads are really happy for them. They're a really brilliant group. They're really together, and they are genuinely really, really pleased for them.
How important is that when your players are getting called up? There's maybe not sort of jealousy or something. Players are genuinely pleased to see somebody doing something.
Yeah, I also think having someone so close, you achieve that and get into that squad. I think it's a brilliant carrot for some of the players. With some really talented young players, not all English players, but that like they should be aspiring for those things and this recognition. So I hope it's not ideal when so many go away on international duty, but I hope that the more we have this, that means the better we're doing as a group and individually. So hopefully we can continue to grow that.
You mentioned team news and fitness. I just wanted to ask you about Adam Lallana. I know you said it wasn't anything serious and he was going to get a scan. Has the scan kind of proved?
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's good. So he's trained and he's fine. And I think he felt more relaxed once he knew he's fine. And he hadn't been well last week. I told you there was a bug going around, and he was one of them people. So I think taking all of that into account, he just was really fatigued. And but this week he's had a nice spring in his step, and he saw his old mucker Ricky Lambert today, who's been into the training ground, which has been really nice. And so lots of smiles, and as he's ready.
Alex was just showing us some of the stats from Adam, and he's one of the quickest players in terms of when he presses and stuff. He's a very intense player, and I suppose at 36, you're always going to get that from him. But then, like you mentioned before, that means you're never going to get 90 minutes out of him.
Yeah. So what he, in terms of like physicality, how that's changed over the years, but how he manages that and how he picks and chooses his moments to steal the ball, or to move the team forward, or to put pressure on is amazing. And his voice helps the team so much. So yeah, the more we can have him on the pitch at the minute, the better. We'll see if he's ready to start.
One for the international break. Have you been keeping an eye on Samadozi? Have you had a chat with him? How's
Yeah.
getting on?
So we've had different people go over and watch him. Matt Gill's been over. Ollie Lancashire's been over. Gilly's going over again this weekend to watch him. So yeah, in constant contact. He's doing well. I think it's good for him. Different environment, different challenge, and I think he seems to be enjoying it. So I would implore Sam to be better at text messaging and give us a bit more detail, but it's why we keep sending people over there a bit regularly to make sure we're having conversation, and face-to-face is always better and easier. So yeah, I wish I had the time to go over myself, but at the minute I haven't, and there will be a time when I do. But yeah, he's an important player for us in terms of the big picture, and I think this season will be really good for him.
Joseph.
In terms of Aaron Ramsdale, what was he like when he got here? Did he have sort of like a bit of fragility because of what had happened at Arsenal, or was he come in with that chomping at the bit to sort of prove himself?
Yeah, I just think he's hungry. Mate. I think he's really hungry to put himself as England's #1 goalkeeper, to prove to people what he can do, to be a big part of something, to believe in something. And I think he's brought all of that. So I think he's also growing in terms of feeling more comfortable with big voice and opinion in the lads. That takes some time, no matter how gregarious you are and how outgoing you are, which he is. It takes time to feel really comfortable with a group and for them to know you and understand you. So I think he'll go from strength to strength. I think he's been a brilliant signing for this club. He will be a brilliant signing, and I think he's loving football, and I think he's enjoying it. And I think for Aaron, that's really, really important.
You said sort of the other day after the match, I think it was the quote something like you were surprised that you were able to sign him. You're still surprised by that. How were you able to sign him? I think I've seen quotes from him talking about how he spoke to you and you were able to persuade him. What's that sort of that pitch you give?
It took a long time. So I sent him videos of my son begging him to sign. I was sending him gifts, emojis, all sorts. But yeah, mostly I just told him how good I thought he would be for us, why it was such a good fit, how I think we could help him, how he could help us, the input he would have day to day in terms of having an opinion and feeling, hopefully, like his opinion is valid and wanted, and hopefully he's felt all of that. So the longer it went on, at the start it was kind of like I might as well have a go at this and see where it takes us, and but the longer it went on, I thought okay, it might not happen, and then thankfully in the last week it did. And I think I have nothing but gratitude to the owners for making that happen, and for Aaron for pushing so hard in the end to make it happen. So yeah, we're getting so much from him, and hopefully he's getting as much from us as we are from him.
What was those final couple of days before what point do you know you've sort of signed him? So what was that sort of that emotion when you know you've got a keeper who is going to have big influence on what you're going to be able to do this year?
Yeah, I think, well, it's like, I just think we thought it was going to be, it could make a big difference to us, otherwise we just wouldn't have done it. We have a really strong goalkeeping department now, but it's not just performance, it was about his character. And after speaking to a lot of people, and Brooksy was one of his best mates and he played a part in it as well, so thankfully Brooksy quite liked us as a group of staff, and so he was able to say good things to Rambo, and I think in the end we were just really, really delighted to get it done, and really, I think he's going to be a huge signing for us, which he's proven to be.
He said that he wanted to come here and become England #1 again. He can do that again. What's he been like yesterday and today? Have you seen sort of another uplift from him?
No, he's always the same, mate. Yeah, he's just a big character. Yeah, he's great, loud, and in a really nice way. Always smiling. But then when he trains, he's really serious. He's a competitor and he's demanding. So I think that's one of the beautiful things about Aaron. He's so comfortable with who he is and what he is. He won't change.
One last one for me, more on Taylor Howard-Bellis. That obviously you were an international defender. what sort of advice can you give to him? What can he expect from playing international cricket that's different? Cricket.
He's playing international cricket, is he?
I-
He's done well, hasn't he?
That's
Taylor,
my
2
impression.
sports.
International football, and from club cricket.
He's done it for about 5 years already, through the age group, so I know it's different, but he's been captain of 21s, gone and won a big tournament, so I just don't see it being any different. He's used to being away in that environment and with that intensity, being with a different group, and been used to leading a group, so him stepping up, I think it's quite a young squad anyway. I just don't see it being a problem, especially now he's playing in the Premier League and playing really well. The last few games he's played really, really well, so he just needs to stay there. And I think the biggest challenge again for him, as it will be for Tyler with the 21s, is to be as much yourself as you possibly can with a new group, which is not always easy. So if they maintain the ability to be themselves and show what they show of us every day, then they'll be fine and they'll have a lot of fun.